just making so much of a difference in the 5v5s with the Rumble alongside him. The damage that GAM had just felt too much to deal with. So we jump into game 2. MF and TF going to remain the bans from GAM. Yasuo going to come out as the third ban. Nocturne, still the respect towards the Vietnamese team, with Maokai and Varus alongside that, which means the first pick going to be the Gwen.
The Yasuo is actually an IU special. So he has played it before. He played it in playoffs a couple times. So they are giving some respect over to that bot lane Yasuo, not wanting to have to deal with it. Some of these globals obviously still being very highly prioritized, kept on the ban list. Kiaya getting the Gwen, though, this was banned out, it felt like, non-stop in their series yesterday.
Yeah, and also just regionally, this was something that teams did not want to give them when playing against GAM. One of the most banned champions is this Gwen. So it's something that you want to make sure that you respect, and Kiaya locking in, you can see the level of confidence that he has on the pick. Now, we saw this yesterday from BLG, taking the Wukong away from Levi, one of his big comfort picks. Pairing it up with something like an Aurora would give you a very powerful mid-jungle duo in terms of your team fight potential. The Annie, though, a nice combination as well. We saw this exactly from BLG yesterday as a deterrent to the Ahri. But as a combination, it's still very strong.
It's a classic sign, but it's a good one. Yep, we're going to be looking for the Annie Wukong. Will we just get the Vi? No, Ahri obviously was played last time, so Vi's coming through. They may actually be the ones to take the Aurora. So interesting, the Aurora was hovered on the other side. They're going to be the ones to grab it now. A lot of engage here for GAM. Clearly, that's the style that they want to play. The Pantheon was the go button so many times for Levi in that game number 1, even just ulting into the middle of the entire enemy team to get those fights started. Vi can obviously accomplish similar things.
Oof.
The Jax has an answer here, though, for Gigo. He was incredible yesterday in their series against Broken Blade. I felt like he was really showcasing how good he was, taking down Broken Blade in a bunch of different games. And the Jax is one of these things that, yes, you can outscale the Gwen, and it can become really difficult for the Gwen in the side lanes later on.
I think that this is a great choice. Gigo really impressed me yesterday. I think in the finals, he really stood out as well domestically. And just giving him an ability to carry, I think is just a better look for FURIA. Not that he can't be a flexible player. We saw him have a good Sion performance yesterday. We know that he's more than happy to play the tanks, but putting him on the Jax, giving him a little bit more agency to be that backline threat. I'm excited to see how he's able to pull it off this time around. The Kalista and the Braum going to be the same bans that we saw in the previous game. The AD carry pool going to be pinched a little bit more, but remember something that we were talking about yesterday. When that pool gets pinched, Ezreal, Kai'Sa, champions that still very safe, fit into pretty much any
Jinx,
draft. There's just so many. Yeah, exactly. It feels like that it's, I mean, we've even seen the Ziggs.
Yep.
There's even possibility to think like Swain, Seraphine, depending on how creative you want to be. So I do not think that either of these teams are concerned about these bans coming through. Kalista, Renata, not something that FURIA want to have to deal with.
Yeah, it is really interesting to see the Renata being that ban, because generally, at least in NA, oftentimes when you ban the Kalista, that is kind of like banning out the Renata, because that is the pairing that people really like to play with it. I do think Renata can be very effective against dive comps, even outside of just that one pairing, but largely, at least in our region, it's kind of considered like a double ban.
I mean, Varus is the other Renata thing, but they also banned the Varus.
Yeah, exactly.
But clearly they're just saying,
the pairings
we don't like Renata.
We don't like your pairings, and we don't like you either.
Yeah, exactly. Alistair going to be taken away. Interesting that GAM have done this twice in a row now, really limiting the engaged supports. Corki Leona now looking like a big pickup for FURIA. Kai'Sa Nautilus could very well just be the response from GAM. Lucian being the hover, though, I do quite like the Lucian locking, not only because it would deny IU a big comfort pick for him, but also just because it gives you, I think it synergizes nicely with the sort of mid-game power spike that GAM have started to develop with their composition with both the Vi and the Aurora. Right now, they're just flexing through all the different available ADs. It looks like they're going to lock in with the Jhin, giving them a little bit more range and a little bit more safety from that back line.
Yeah, both Jhin and Kai'Sa, I think, kind of facilitate dives in different ways. I mean, obviously, Kai'Sa becomes part of the dive, whereas Jhin is just kind of creating chaos with the ultimate, opening up as everyone is piling in to really make it difficult for you. Again, really high prio for GAM on these snap engage tools. Last time it was the Rakan and the Pantheon. This time it is the Vi and the Nautilus, as well as the Aurora that can really start fights out. So it is going to be pretty frightening for IU It feels like when you're looking at this, he is the clear target in every single fight once again. Like, yeah, you could go for an Annie, but Annie, you spend your spells once, and that's kind of you're done for the team fight. So I do feel like IU is going to have his work cut out for him because there's no enchanter, there's not a lot of peel, there is counter engage, but it feels like GAM's going to have their eyes on him in every fight.
It's funny because, I mean, we've been playing League a long time, right, Azel? And
that's true.
And when I see Aurora, to me, she's the modern-day version of Annie. They both just kind of drop their spells once they're done.
They both have red hair.
Yeah, they both have red hair. And the whole idea is just you drop the combo, and then you kind of just, you don't really have that much impact in the fight. That's not to say that you still can't do damage, of course, but your whole purpose is to just do that giant burst of damage, ideally on a crucial target, and then someone can either finish it off, or you are doing that damage to finish someone off.
The crucial target part is the thing that my teammates are missing. They usually just kind of shoot their combo out into nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also the thing is, the reason why I call Aurora the modern day is she has stealth, she can move around, she can blink, whereas Annie's just got little shields that reflect stuff, you know?
I press my E and walk quickly towards you.
Now, the one thing I will say about Annie, though, is her passive. That ability to stun is the big difference maker. And that's kind of why, on paper, I do quite like more what we've got from FURIA. I think that their just team-fighting prowess is way easier to execute. Leona, Wukong, Annie as a trio is so straightforward in how you execute the fights. I think about Jax into Gwen on the side lanes, and I do give that small advantage to the Jax just because of how the laning phase and the potential scaling. And so on paper, I am leaning towards FURIA's composition, but in the fights, Levi's demonstrated to me that there is nothing that man is afraid of. Because if his goal is, I will lock down the AD carry, he will go through
locked down.
Whether his team is behind him or not is another debate. Oh, we've reconnected.
We're good. Don't worry, guys. The client never has issues.
Never.
Never. If it does, it's all in your mind.
Gigo establishing his authority.
Yeah, definitely asserting dominance there. Gets the bone plating off. As that can be relevant. You know, the bone plating won't be on cooldown, will be on cooldown as that lane does start out. But I tend to agree with you. And FURIA definitely has the ease of execution on their side. Great pick tools for GAM. But the counter engage is very, very powerful from FURIA. So it's, if GAM is diving in and full sending it onto IU, well, yes, you might kill him, but the rest of your team might also get cooked for that because you're diving into Tibbers, you're diving into Cyclone, you're diving into a Counter-Strike Jax, who are going to be punishing that follow-up very, very heavily.
Regardless of what things look like on paper, I think the reality is that both compositions are set up to fight. And we couldn't really ask for anything else.
Both teams too.
Yes. So in game one, we saw Artemis and Elio get the better of FURIA's bot lane. Not only did they kill them in the 2 versus 2, they set up beautifully for an early dive, which they executed on flawlessly. We see junglers now taking opposite paths to their game one decision-making, with Tatu starting on his top side, pathing towards bot. Conversely, Levi starting on his bot side as Gigo, already getting some nice trades. The Conqueror fully stacked here. Ooh, and a nice response from Kiaya.
Yeah, it was going very well for Gigo early on, but the Conqueror is stacking, and if you get hit by that true damage in the center of the snip snip, it is a ridiculous amount of damage that you are going to be taking. IU and JoJo clearly with full control here in the early waves are going to be able to get level 2 and push this forward. Artemis and Elio clearly respecting that. Will's just going to stand back and accept the wave at their tower.
And they're going to have to play safe because Levi will be pathing away from them. Emo is going to get some information now on Tatu. Recognize that, hey, jungler is here. And that means that he's going to be pathing towards the bot side of the map. So the risk of a dive is something that Artemis and Elio will have to try and play around.
And even the risk of the bounce, right? Because the wave got pushed into their tower, so it's going to bounce and push towards their opponents.
That's very true.
IU and JoJo from that spot can just kind of trim the wave enough so it's pushing out away towards them. And that can put Elio and Artemis in a pretty awkward spot. Kiaya and Gigo, though, just going right at it. Is Kiaya getting Gigo incredibly low here. Does not want to go for a flash or anything. Needs to wait for the snip cooldown. But is not up. And Gigo's just going to have to go back to base very early on here on only 9 CS. He's not going to have too much of a buy. It's a glowing moat and a health potion. And I feel like glowing moat has got to be the saddest buy in the entire game. Like when I go back to base, I'm like, really? That's what I have to buy? It is, it's tough.
Certainly is. I mean, the good news for him is that he doesn't have to expend the teleport. Because the wave was already stacked towards him, he will likely lose a few minions underneath the tower, but he's going to have a nice juicy wave to catch, and he's going to have that TP available. In response, though,
missed the cannon.
Oh, he does miss the cannon, so never mind. It's disaster.
Yeah, it's
Everything
disaster.
I just said is completely redundant. His lane is over.
Ask if they can remake it null jag.
Of course, I do exaggerate, but in terms of the early laning phase, good advantage gained for Kiaya in the 1 versus 1. Bit of information gained by Tatu to recognize that the Raptors are gone. On the bot side of the map as well. Considering how much pressure it felt like Artemis was under in the early laning phase, he's doing a good job in the farm department.
And I've got to say, FURIA's early warding, they are very aggressive at tracking through the river. Both last game and this game. I mean, look at all those wards. It's just kind of this whole line along that bottom river. As Elio, again, equal to the challenge there, just buffering his hook, and as soon as the Zenith Blade comes out, he throws out the hook, so it kind of interrupts the travel time there, procs his Aftershock, and that is a key part of this matchup. You need to have your Aftershock proc for when you get stunned, if you get stunned by that Leona, or you're just going to take so much damage.
Yeah, you'll notice when he does it as well, this small gap gets created, which means that Jojo is actually just slightly out of range to connect the Q as well, which means that he's able to sidestep any more follow-up that IU could potentially throw down. But a very quiet early game. Somewhat similar to what we saw in the previous game. Of course, the biggest difference from Game 1 to Game 2 is Artemis and Elio were really driving forward that winning matchup, and they were making good advantages in the isolated lane. Meanwhile, the real advantage we see in this game is Kiaya building his lead even more now with a 10 CS lead. Of course, a few minions here for Gigo to catch, but considering how impactful we saw Gigo being yesterday, our expectations coming into today were that, well, we had high expectations of him today, quite bluntly, and Kiaya, I will say, I think has gotten the better of him so far in this series. Of course, we are only in Game 2, and there's still a lot of this game left to be played.
Well, Kiaya is posturing very aggressively here, as Gigo will just have to walk it out, but I agree, Kiaya had done really well, was excellent on the Rumble, and now on another one of the picks he is really well known for. Yes, I do think the Jax, it is a good matchup for him, and I do think he outscales, but not if you fall too far behind. And also, when you're taking in consideration the Conqueror over for Kiaya, that is going to scale a lot better than the Grass does in these 1v1s. But Tatu, early Dragon here, going to be grabbed up by FURIA. Looks like Levi, of course, is on that top side, not going to be contesting this whatsoever.
Good awareness. That one ward you'll see on the top side, spotting him out, gives them all the information that they need to secure this objective. Looks like we're not going to see a swap come through from GAM, but we will from FURIA.
Oh, they're going to look for the dive. They actually connect, and the Needlework did tag him as well. Levi did interrupt that. Gigo trying to be supported here by Jojo, and in comes IU as well. Levi's going to flash out, and Levi, does he have the ball breaker? Gets over the wall, but the Zenith Blade follows, and IU is there. Flash to follow. The Ignite is ticking. IU wants this first blood, and he's going to get it.
The swap is well timed from FURIA. Their main goal was to get Gigo out of this matchup because he has been struggling. And Levi was not expecting it. He wasn't prepared for the support in Jojo to be there and to punish them. So it's FURIA that draw first blood here in Game 2.
Really well played by Jojo, also connecting the Zenith Blade to follow him over the wall, sets up to be able to chase down and get that kill. And unfortunately for them, yes, Artemis wasn't matched on the swap, but he couldn't push in the wave fast enough to deny.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. That if the wave was underneath the tower, they could have gotten a dive, and at the very least, it would have been a 1-for-1. But with no minion wave to play off, Levi is just forced to retreat. You can see that Elio was in the area to potentially assist, but he recognized, no, there's not much that I can do here. Instead, I'm just going to disengage, lose my jungler's life, and see what else we can do on the map.
Artemis going to get jumped on there as Gigo has the Sheen. And Artemis realizes, you know what, I don't really want to do anything with that Sheen. Definitely going to have to stay away as he does take a pretty big chunk of damage. Kiaya still just playing in this 1v2 up on the top side, as he's going to be in a bit of a difficult spot. Obviously a lot easier for Gigo in that 1v1 for now, but the swap is going to be matched. You can see that both the Nautilus and this Jhin are heading out towards mid lane, and they are going to actually move Emo down towards bot lane. So pretty interesting. They're just kind of rearranging the entire lane assignments here.
The lane assignments are a bit confusing to me. I would imagine that Emo's been sent bot because his TP is going to be up sooner. But to have Kiaya continue to play in this 1 versus 2, I feel like just goes against his best interests. Even if he's not really at risk of being killed,
I guess it's just all about Grubs, right? They want to keep him on top side because he has no TP, and they really want to fight for Grubs. So GAM are going to move their bot lane towards mid, have the duo there, send Emo down towards bot, and they are going to look for a pick now. Tatu could be in some trouble. Pops the Cyclone, uses the clone to try to build some space as he's kiting back towards Jojo and Ayu, and in comes Toots. Levi's on the wrong side of town here. The Jhin going to open up to try to assist him, but there's nowhere for Levi to go. He can delay, but I'm not even sure that's beneficial for him as Gigo is just pushing through bot lane. Eventually, Tatu is going to grab the kill. Might even be another plate going the way of Gigo as FURIA looking very strong in these early couple minutes.
The playmaking of Levi once again being punished by the bot lane of FURIA. The decision-making, I have to imagine, is he believes that there's not really a way out for him because Toots is collapsing from the mid lane, and so he thinks that if he moves into the jungle, he can buy some time. A hook goes wide by Elio, not connecting onto Tatu. Grub's not going to be started off as a TP now comes through from Emo.
They clearly do not want to give this up. You know, Emo and Kiaya already on this. Levi's running out from base. FURIA are in the area, so we definitely could have a fight. Ayu, though, split quite a bit from the team. As you can see, Gigo had a great day one. The hook now from Elio coming in here onto Jojo. Jojo looking for the engage. The ultimate does not connect onto Emo. Levi dueling against Ayu on the top side, but he's losing out on that one. Levi's going to be knocked down. GAM try to force their hand, but it's not a good fight for them. They lose Kiaya and Levi.
Things are just quickly falling apart for GAM. A lot of the fights that they're trying to take just don't make any sense, and FURIA is more than happy to punish them. A fight that they tried to force around the Grubs. At the very least, they get one, but FURIA still very happy with the outcome. Now a 2K goal lead, and we're just cresting 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's definitely looking tough as Gigo getting very aggressive here, getting him very low. The cooldown's going to be coming back up. Will he look for the dive? Goes between worlds, trying to bounce back and forth. Ooh. Nicely played there by Emo. Disrupts the damage coming through from Jax as he looked for the leaf strike there right as he teleported back to the other side of his ult.
So we look back at this play, and Levi is here, but again, like, from the offset, it's GAM. Their positioning just isn't ideal. The Jhin is in a position to really contribute. FURIA have 5 members much quicker, and, like, there's not really much of a fight. GAM is just immediately on the retreat. So the fact that it's very easily played by FURIA. Remember that Leona ultimate completely whiffed. They didn't even need it to secure those 2 kills. So they get 2 grubs, they got 2 kills, and they're sitting in a very comfortable spot. Dragon spawning in 15 seconds. The bot lane has now moved, wow. They've moved the Corki into mid lane so that he can contest the wave, and they've now got the Leona covering for the Annie in the bot side of the map. So they're nicely set up for the Dragon spawning, well, right now.
And Levi is definitely in a tough spot now. 0-3-0 to start this one out. It has been put quite a bit behind. You can see the Triforce going to be done very soon for Tatu. And Levi still working towards his Sundered Sky. Obviously, you will always have the ability to try to still start these fights out, but if you fall too far behind in the Vi, we have all seen these games. It can very quickly turn into just ult into dead over and over and over. The champion doesn't really have any fallback plan. You have to be that engaged. You have to throw yourself in there. And it's just very difficult to do as you fall behind. But thankfully, at least for him, he's kept up his farm really well, so he does have a decent amount of gold still.
Emo losing out a bit on the trades in the mid lane as the Dragon going to be started off by Tatu. And as we very much expected, no contest.
Oh, he's behind Ayu, and he's going to be looking for him. The Vault Breaker does lock him down, but Ayu is able to just bounce back over the wall. He uses the flash as well.
So, nice advantage gain. Getting the flash out from the enemy AD carry is always a nice thing to have. Means that any repeat plays means that he's very susceptible. Kiaya now facing Gigo once again. Means that he's back in the matchup that he was winning earlier on. But Gigo, he's gotten himself a kill. He has a lot of experience. I mean, it was Gigo that ended up finding that kill onto Kiaya in the last fight. So he's got to be feeling more confident as Jojo's just here to offer that extra bit of assistance. Plates being secured on the bot side of the map as the lane assignments. I mean, Aurora is hovering around mid. The Jhin is rotated from bot up towards mid at the threat of a dive. And I mean, I feel like we've seen some odd lane assignments coming out from GAM in this game, rather than just moving Kiaya away. As you highlighted, they really wanted Kiaya relevant for the Grubs fight. But I think the consequences of that have now just become very evident, as even the support has a 400 gold lead.
Absolutely. I mean, feels like every plate that has gone down on bot side has just been uncontested. And now Gigo even going to get a free plate up on top side. So things looking really good for FURIA as they're just playing the map much better than GAM. GAM has been trying to stay grouped, trying to find fights, but if you go for those and you don't actually execute on them and get the kills, well, your opponents are just pushing the map, well, they're going to get further and further and further ahead, and that's what's happened so far this game. As FURIA now up over 2,000 gold, has both of the early dragons, 2 of the 3 grubs. They're in an incredible position. Emo is going to look as Tuts did spell, uses spells on the wave there, and Emo gets a little bit of damage down, but mostly blocked there by Tuts and retreated back really well.
Kind of waiting for the next neutral objective to spawn with the Herald in about 1.5 minutes. GAM, of course, we're off to a good start in game 1. It was really in the team fighting where we saw FURIA finding ways to answer back. They found some great kills around the dragons in particular. But right now it feels like that the main goal is to, well, now that the first items have been completed, I feel like both teams should think about how confident they are when it comes to the fight. The double, triple Trinity Force spike, I should say, as the Wukong,
Does it give you a step bonus or something?
Yeah, I mean, you would think. What I can tell you is that when it comes to mid-game spikes, it's a nice one. Kiai in some danger.
Yeah, Kiai in a lot of danger. Jojo going to flash forward, does lock him down. In comes the counter-strike as well. That's the 3rd stun in a row, and Kiai's got nowhere to go. Emo does arrive, though, going to try to turn things around. Levi trying to get in range. Not able to actually hit with that Jin W to lock him down, and in comes the response teleport from Tuts. So it's just going to be the lost teleport for that tower and the kill. And now Cyclone going to be popped there by Tatu as he's going in. It's him and Ayu against the world right now, but Elio is quite low. Artemis taking a lot of damage as he tries to retreat. Jojo looking, forces the flash out of Emo. Again, FURIA come out on top.
I mean, FURIA just getting everything that they want. They pushed in the top wave.
Oh, Tuts now looking, Emo in some trouble. Tiver's going to be dropped, does proc the electrocute, won't have the damage to knock him down, but they are in full control, it feels like.
They certainly are. They pushed in the top wave so that it started bouncing back, which means that Gigo, after pushing in that bot wave, can now actually path towards the top side of the map, catch that wave. They also, while it's not ideal that they committed the TP from Tuts, they get the flash out from Emo, and they find themselves another kill. So tower secured, kill secured, 4K gold lead in their favor. This is a very one-sided game so far in game 2.
It really is. It's going to be up to the engage tools that GAM have to try to find picks, to try to turn things around as they are looking at Gigo up on that top side, who now has a very big advantage. He's going to pop the counter-strike, looking to walk back. Deadly Flourish does connect from Artemis. Is able to root him up, but not going to mean much of anything as Elio here looking, but it's Jojo that wants to start out the fight. Tatu and Ayu are here. Levi, though, coming on a flank. He's going to run into Tuts. Tuts is going to get the flash out of Levi. Levi flashes and just turns it into an engage onto Ayu, but Levi's getting locked down, and he is getting knocked down by Ayu. Another kill going to go their way as they kill off Elio. Artemis and Emo are on the run, and here comes Gigo. He wants it, and he's going to get it. He's on a killing spree now, and trying to corral Emo under this tower. Will they push it in and even look for the dive? Gigo going back in as Emo's going to go between worlds, and Gigo may have bit off more than he could chew. It's a shutdown there for Emo as GAM finally gets something back.
4-4. Gigo's aggression gives one back, but it was still 4 kills in favor of FURIA. The fights are just so one-sided. It feels like that the front line of GAM is just too squishy. We'll see the collapse that comes through from GAM. Levi takes the long way around to create this flank. Ayu chipping away at the front line. Kiaya sets his sights onto Tatu. But when you see Ayu locked up, you think that it's bad, but he just Valkyries away. The Leona ultimate comes through. He tanks up a huge amount thanks to his W. And then it just becomes this chase down where FURIA picks apart the rest of GAM, and they walk away more than happy, winning a massive fight.
And there's just no one in position to even follow up there. You know, Levi was trying to go for a sneaky flank, but then he ran into Annie, so he kind of had to really go early. He flashes, he gets the Q on Ayu, but he has no ult available. No one's in position to even hit him. He got not even 300 damage done in that fight, and now he's looking for Gigo, but Gigo is going to be in a great spot to even take this in a 1v2 because he has Jojo walking up behind him. GAM again just overloading one side of the map. This is all they have left, it feels like at this point, is just trying to force fights on one side where they have the extra man. But Jojo has been reading them, it feels like, this whole game.
I completely agree.
He's been playing an incredible game, involved in 8 of the 9 kills, always in the right place at the right time to shut down Levi's plays.
I mean, you look at the bot side of the map as well. There is just a stacked wave pushing towards that tier 2 tower. You've got both Emo and Artemis hovering around mid. They're sharing farm and experience. And it's just an awkward position because no one's really being funneled that gold. And
Levi looking, steals it away, gets the objective bounty. There was 3 members from FURIA on the top side. They didn't think GAM would look for the fight, and Levi now wants more. The hook is going to connect as well. Emo goes between worlds, and I think they're going to get Tatu. It's another shutdown, 722 gold going into the coffers there of Emo, as all of a sudden, a big surge in gold as they steal the dragon, get the objective bounty, and get another shutdown. But it is going to cost them the tier 2 top, as FURIA soul laners continue to get paid.
GAM had no right stealing that dragon. They were completely on the opposite side of the map. They had no one on the bot wave. It felt like that the vision control was not in their favor at all. And Levi just said, you know what, sure, I'll flip it. He goes over the wall, he gets the steal, and then they actually convert it into a pick as well. And I think this is a demonstration of FURIA just spreading their resources a little too thin. They had good control over the bot side of the map. They needed another member. I mean, at least they do make a good choice in just committing to the top side and securing another tower. They still hold on to a very healthy gold lead, but they miss out on soul point.
And you can see in the Coinbase gold grind, this is where Gigo has gotten all of his gold throughout the game, as we're going to see Levi getting locked down, knocked down once again. Who else but JoJo helping to set up the kill for Gigo, who is getting so far ahead. 2.2k individual gold lead now. This is more what we were expecting from him after his incredible performance against Broken Blade.
I mean, JoJo, he's 0-0-9. He's been involved in 9 of the 10 kills that FURIA have been able to find. Herald's going to be dropped on the bottom tier 2 tower.
Oh, here comes the engage. The stun does land. Emo goes between worlds and does try to kite back. Elio trying to make something happen here as in comes Kiaya. Can Kiaya get to the back line? He's trying to knock down Toots. He's going to flash over the wall to follow. The needlework is connecting, but Toots is just not dying. He's low, but is he low enough? He's looking for it. Can't find the final one to take him down, as Emo's going to get knocked down by Tatu. And Gigo in the side lane again, just shoving that wave, pushing it in, keeping that gold lead bigger and bigger and bigger.
I mean, this is quickly turning into a stomp. 20 minutes in, a 7.3k gold lead in favor of FURIA. It feels like that they can do no wrong, as GAM, desperately trying to get something back, just lack the damage, lack the resources needed to at the very least get a kill onto FURIA. 2-11 is the scoreline. 2.5 minutes until the next dragon spawns, but you can see that GAM's base is just in pieces.
Yeah, it's just such an interesting juxtaposition to the last game, where last game was all about team fights, all about 5v5s, and that's really where everything was decided. This game, it's been about FURIA making smart map movements, punishing the plays that GAM are going for. JoJo roaming and anticipating the moves that Levi is going to make. Has been fantastic to see them play the map, and they're here onto the Otacon. This is a risky place to be, though. We have seen a lot of throws over by Otacon. GAM, I think, is aware of it, and they spotted out now with the blue trinket. Will they be able to find the approach? Toot's going to get spotted on the side. JoJo going for the engage. He's just trying to lock down Levi and make sure that it's not a 50-50. It's going to be taken there by FURIA, but is there a fight to be had afterwards? JoJo just flashing out. Ayu getting aggressive, does step forward, takes a chunk of damage, but GAM can't make the fight continue. FURIA walk out, losing a flash, but gaining the Otacon.
I think they made a wise choice. After JoJo had to flash away to safety, there was no need for FURIA to force the fight. They'd already secured the objective. If they tried to force it anymore, they would have just put themselves in an awkward position. So they don't take the gamble. They choose to retreat. But now a trap lies in wait.
But who's it a trap for? Toots is here, but so is Elio. The entire FURIA squad pounces and bites him in half. Kiaya is down already, and Emo is coming in. But does he even want to be here? He's going to go between worlds. The Cyclone going to get popped there by Tatu. The focus is onto Gigo, but Gigo is healing. Gigo is standing. The locket comes in through to keep him alive as Ayu arrives as well, and he's back onto the back line with Artemis. Artemis going to get knocked down. FURIA crushing the fight. They can't even get Gigo. FURIA were so ready for that play coming out of GAM.
It's an ace for FURIA. The collapse was quick. GAM responding to the ingression just ends up being disastrous. FURIA gets so much off the back of that play, so much gold injected. Tut starts off the play, but Gigo and Tatu are there to support. They get the quick pick. The teleport comes through from Emo, and he thinks that he can convert it into something because Levi is here as well, but they just don't quite have the damage. The target selection again. Once JoJo arrives to the party, Emo is forced out of the fight. He gets cleaned up. Levi on the back line. He is so far behind. He can't get the kill onto Gigo. And the happy faces of FURIA. mean that they get a one-sided ace. And they're looking to secure their third dragon of the game.
Yeah, you gotta love it. He's dancing on him, man. And he said if he beat G2, he would dance on him. Well, maybe we're gonna see it here today. Definitely love the Brazilian players, all the emotion, the passion that they show for the game, how excited they get on stage, how much the players and the fans do pop off in these big moments. It makes it really fun to watch.
Tatu, a player that always brings the energy, a young player that has been fighting to make a name for himself. As
and Artemis gonna mess around and find out. Artemis has to run for the hills already. Levi is here though. Can they turn it around? Artemis has to cancel his ult because he's just dying to Tibbers. But inside the base, Kiaya is dead again. Gigo on the other side of the map making things happen. They do get the kill onto the Annie, but it's a continued dive. It's Emo trying to defend the base, and it's Emo dying. Both the solo laners from GAM are gonna get knocked down as FURIA crack the base open. Only 24 minutes in. They're pushing in the waves. They're pushing up the mid lane. They want to look for a second inhib already.
Tuts bought so much time for FURIA to make this play. And in exchange, the base will go the way of FURIA. A second inhibitor is soon to fall. They have the minions in the bot wave. I think trying to end this game is quite ambitious. And I think they'll make the wise choice to disengage. FURIA gets so much in exchange for their mid laner. Now an 11k gold lead. FURIA is dominating game 2.
They're just playing it out so well. They know all GAM can do is overload one side of the map, look for a pick. So FURIA are just constantly pushing up all of the waves. So if you go for a 3-man play topside, well, guess what? We are going to punish you on the bot side. They dive, they kill off the inhibitor tower, they kill off both of the soul laners, they take double inhib. It's just beautiful to see.
We look back at the dive, and it's really been the story of this game. Jojo and Gigo have been working together so much to find these plays on the side lane, funnel Gigo all of these resources, and now he's just become this unstoppable duelist that seems to have no answer on the side of GAM.
2025 is the year of the JoJos, apparently. We got Jojo Pyun winning in EU. We got Jojo winning in LTA South. As Tatu will be spotted here, but Levi may not have a way out. Cyclone going to be popped immediately as Ayu, Gigo, everyone coming in here to try to knock down their jungler. They'll get the kill. Gigo goes onto a rampage, and GAM do not have a great wave clear whatsoever. They get the kill on the jungler, pings immediately coming onto the Baron. FURIA can just walk over and likely grab this pretty easily.
Yeah, there's no smite, which means that this is an uncontested
Which means
objective.
that the mid laner is going to steal it, just like last game.
Exactly. All right, pressure's on Emo. He's in the bot lane, so I think the likelihood of him stealing that
has to be a very long two-full
Oh, it certainly is.
Yeah.
FURIA gonna secure this objective, and then they can just turn their attention to top lane. They've just come off the back of a reset. I don't think they necessarily have to base right now if they don't want to. They can just keep up with the aggression. The TP should be available, but all right, they'll play it safe. They'll likely concede the bot tower, and objective bounty will go the way of GAM, but with the goal difference like this, really you're just thinking about game 3. This will likely equalize the series. We turn from a best of 5 into a best of 3. Both sides have shown their strengths, their weaknesses. And it's going to be interesting because the pool will continue to be more limited. And GAM will have to find a way to bounce back in the rest of the series.
Absolutely, and we've seen especially, well, really from both sides, but I think especially from GAM, the emphasis that they have on finding all of these hard engage tools, you know, ability to start the fight from multiple lanes, you know, constantly want to be able to have that aggression. And there's only so many champions, you know, at the top level that are really excelling at doing that. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go in this next game as FURIA now closing the trap here onto GAM, trying to look for those final moments of the fight. It's going to be Elio looking for the engage here onto Ayu, but Ayu is not bothered by it whatsoever. He just backs up, and now Tatu is going to try to go for an engage of his own, but he's taking up the tower. Tatu pops the Cyclone, trying to make it happen here, has to flash over the wall, goes between worlds, and is going to be able to get the kill as Emo secures him on the other side, but now Gigo has arrived, and he's big man on campus, going in, knocking it down 1, knocking down 2, looking for more as GAM retreat to the fountain. FURIA will make no doubt about this one. Game 1 was back and forth. It was close, but game 2 was 22-4 for FURIA, and it was all FURIA.
The thumbs up comes through from Tatu as it was a one-sided affair.